Hi everyone, it's Tammy and welcome to week 2 of our 12 crafts of Halloween. And this week we're going to make this really cute little box that I learned how to make from Chicken Scratch. Her name is Angie Judah and you can find her on YouTube at Chicken Scratch and or on her blog, and she sells Stampin' Up. So she did it with Stampin' Up products, which was way cute. But I used products that I had on hand, including a paper pad that I got at, I think it was Michael's, and this is the paper pad. This die comes with a view Halloween night. And then I used some ribbon that I have just in my stash. And then for the little tag that I made, I went ahead and made one for both of this one and then the one that I'm going to make tonight. I just used a punch and I cut out just a little cute little shape, and then I used my Halloween Charms stamp set from Stampendous, and I put this music sheet in the background with an orange color, and then I put the tree, the haunted house, and this witch with the broom in the forefront, so it kind of looks a little spooky. Now this is absolutely not even necessary, but I thought it was kind of cute. So I went ahead and did it so that, you know, I could spend most of the time showing you how to do the box, because that's the key. Isn't this cute? I like how it's diagonally folded on the edges. I don't know, it's just really cute. Now it is a small box. It measures 2.5 by 1.5. So you're not going to be able to fit a ton of treats in here, but it's just right for a little something something. So super cute. And I also did a trial version with really thin paper, and I would not recommend the really thin paper. This is nicer cardstock, and I would say to go with something that's a little bit thicker. And I would also recommend that you don't do anything that is directional. So these spiders can go any which way. There's no right or wrong, you know, upside down or any of that. So every side is the same. Same with the one that I'm going to use for you guys tonight. This is also from that same paper pack, and it's cute. It has these purple spider webs with the gold foiling. Love it. So you need a piece of cardstock that measures 8.5 by 5.5. And this is going to seem a little bit complicated because we do a lot of weird kind of folds and cuts, but I will walk you through it, and it's really easy. And once you've gotten it, it's super easy. So you're going to need some cardstock. You're going to need a little bit of ribbon, a hole punch. I'm just using this bigger hole punch. Some scissors. I'm using a bone folder and my cutter to make my score lines. And I'm also using some tear and tape. And I think that's about it, but if there's anything else, we will talk about it. So the first thing I need to do is score. Let me move this out of the way. On the short side, so on the 5.5 inch side, I need to score at 1.5 inches from each end. So I'm just going to put it at 1.5 inches and score. And because this is a little thicker, I like to go over it twice, but I do it kind of lightly because sometimes my scores can be a little heavy-handed. So I'm going to do 1.5 inches from both ends. And then I'm going to turn it to the long side, and I'm going to score at 1.25 inches. Sorry, no, 1.75 inches. Sorry if you can hear my dog. And then 3.5 inches. And then 5 inches. And then 6.75 inches. And for those of you wondering how I knew that was 6.75 inches, is I just moved it up because it was at 5, so 6.75 is 1.75 inches difference. So I just moved it so that my score line was at 1.75 inches, and then that's my line. I do everything I can so I don't have to pull this out. So this is what it looks like all scored. So you see there's 2 lines on this side and 4 on this side. Oh, I'm going to need my bone folder to score the lines. I don't know if I need this. Oh yes I do. I'll need it for the tape. Okay, so on the short side with this longer rectangle, you're going to want to cut up to the score line on both of these lines. Now you don't have, I usually when I do these I make a small little triangle. You don't have to do that on this one. I've done it twice now and neither time did I need the triangle. So you can just cut it right on the score line up to the score line. And you're going to do that on both ends. So far, are you with me? It's pretty simple so far. And then I'm going to turn it to the side and I'm going to find the middle square. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. And I'm going to cut up to the score line on the middle square. So now the middle square, I can fold him out. I'm going to do the same thing to this side too. Now here's the kind of stranger kind of part. I want to make the diagonals on the box so that it will have the diagonals on the sides. So to do that, it's pretty simple. You just need to cut at a diagonal on this box on all the 4 of the boxes next to the middle. See, it's hard to explain, but I think once you see it, you'll know. Let me cut. I didn't cut quite on the line on that one, so I'm just cutting that again. I'm not making a triangle. I'm just cutting it again, and actually that part's going to be cut off. So another way that I remember that I want to do it is I don't want to cut this way, because if I cut my triangle from here to here, because I've cut this line up to there, I would be cutting this whole part off. See what I mean? Let me show you just to, if I were to cut this way, this whole piece would fall off and I'd be left with a little triangle here, and that's not what I want. So if you forget which way to cut it, think about that and know that you still want this piece intact. So I'm going to cut it at a diagonal from this score line to this score line, and it will stay intact. So let's just go ahead and do that. And see how that line, or that little triangle, stays intact. And I'm going to do that for each of these 4 squares. And that's the most complicated part. It's just kind of odd how it works. And then these could be recycled. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it, or I've already scored it. I'm going to burnish it on all of the score lines. I'm going to fold it on the score lines and just get it ready for the actual project. So I like to just move it on down this way, and then I do the same thing on this side. And there's only 2 folds on this side. So here's the first fold, and then I will take all of it and fold all of this to that. That's the second fold. So now what you want to do is put a piece of tear and tape, or whatever heavy duty tape that you have. You could probably even use glue, but I want it to dry really fast. And I'm just going to put a piece of tear and tape kind of diagonally, I don't think it matters, on each of the outside squares. And while I have my tear and tape out, I'm also going to put one on the back of my little image, which again is totally optional, but all right, and that's all the tape that you need. And then I always like to push these down really well to make sure that they are stuck down, and then I put my poker tool down a little bit from the end so I won't peel any of the tape off, and then I just work it through so that it gets underneath the pull off and above the actual sticky tape. And if you do it a little further down than what it begins, it's easier to make sure that you don't start to push the tape off. or bunch it up. Gosh, I can't pick these up. There we go. Okay, so now I have my tape on all 4 of the corners and it's ready to go. So I'm going to lift up my project, push these 2 in just so that they're sticking up, and I'm going to take one side and bring it up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the sticky tapes and fold it straight down on top of the loose square, and I'm calling this the loose square because it's only attached by one end. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side. And you can see how this square is a little taller than that one. It doesn't matter, you're not going to see it. Push this down. So now I have one side up, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. And this side it's actually a little easier. You just bring it in and hold it and then push these down. And they have that tear and tape on them, so they're really sticky and ready to go. And then I just like to take my hand and really burnish that on there just to make sure that it's stuck. And then if you want to round the corners, you can, which I like to do. I didn't tell you a corner rounder. And then I maybe could have done this before I actually made the box, but I didn't, and that's okay. I'm just going to take my hole punch, and you can use a smaller hole punch if you want. And I think I will, because I don't think this one will fit in there. So I'll just use a regular hole punch. Sorry, my dogs are barking. And I'm just getting it right in the middle. And I think I will go ahead and round the edges, and I'll do those one at a time. And I'm using my 1/4 inch corner rounder. Didn't get this one very well. They don't really care that Mama's filming, do they? How rude. And then I didn't pull this tape off, so let me do that. And put that right in the front. Then you can fill this with some goodies, whatever you want. These, oops, you could, heck, some of my friends would really like some baker's twine. It doesn't hold much. See, there's 3 of them in there. And then you can close it right up. And I might try to use this one for this. I have this ribbon too. Some fancy ribbon. It was just in my stash again. I better take those out because I'll forget, and I need them for another project. Well, the larger hole makes it easier to stick the ribbon through for sure. Oh, and I'm doing it wrong anyway. So what I like to do is take the ribbon, fold it in half. The folded side, I fold again and stick it through the hole. Maybe. Easier said than done. And then open it up. You know what, I could take the hole punch and punch it again. That might be smart on this one. And then you take the ribbon and stick it through the hole. And pull. There we go. It's working, but it's... And you don't want to pull too hard because it is just paper and you could rip it. So I'm not going to pull it too hard. You can get the gist. Since I haven't filled it yet, I don't want to screw it up, but I kind of like that ribbon with this. And there you go. And there's the diagonal. Isn't that cute? So it's just a cute little treat box. You can make it easily. There's 8.5 by 5.5 piece of paper. Done deal. So thanks for watching. I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and yeah, happy Halloween.